Good. So Biden dance parties and other festivities are once again immune to this politically savvy virus. I guess the double standards will continue no matter who will be in charge. Maybe these tyrants are just having too much fun to stop.
It's been going on all year, and more. All along, all of this year, I've been treating this issue as a medical scientific issue and addressing it from that point of view, and also from a constitutional point of view. But more and more, the last few days has made me think this has all been political theater. Like we've been gaslighted for the better part of 9 months, and then just yesterday, the Biden claimed basically totalitarian powers, and he put it out in a press release that at any point he can open any business, close any business, force you to stay at home, introduce travel restrictions. He believes that social distancing is not a switch, but a dial. I mean, we're talking about totalitarian powers, and it's shocking. It's absolutely shocking. But you're right. Of course, if you support Biden, then you're exempt from all the regulations. So this is becoming basically tyrannical and very scary.
It is, and it's sadly funny that over these past 4 years, what was the biggest line of attack from Democrats? That President Trump was an authoritarian dictator, he was a fascist, and yet this pandemic gave him the perfect opportunity to really, make good on those accusations against him, and he didn't. He resisted expanding the federal government even more so. However, Biden isn't even technically the president-elect now. He is by the media's accord, but not necessarily by the Constitution, and yet here he is already saying all the powers that he'll take, like you're saying, the dial, and he's even talking about his new COVID task force, which will include Dr. Ezekiel Emanuel, a man who's written about how people shouldn't even live over the age of 75. He just recently signed a letter saying that we should go back down to super strict lockdowns as if it was March or April again. That's very concerning.
The new task force looks terrible. I've looked up mostly. I think there's one halfway decent person, but for the most part, they're lockdowners and very scary people. These are people who play with your lives as if you're just like a piece on a computer game board or something like that. They play society like it's Sim City, like a computer game, and they believe this. And they don't apparently have a conscience. They care nothing for the Bill of Rights, nothing for the Constitution, nothing for 1,000 years of progress in civilization. Now it's just the scientists versus the rest of us, and it's a tiny minority of scientists. These are lockdown scientists, and they do not represent the consensus. There are hundreds of thousands of scientists all over the world that are completely opposed to what's happening. And we're seeing the consequences every day. In the United States, we saw that the school closures led, the Washington Post reported this, women to leave, married women with children, to leave the workforce. So you have fewer married women with children working today than in 1988. I mean, it's incredible how we've reversed the progress of humanity. And then we have medical studies coming out. The MedRx just came out with a big journal article dated November 2nd, proving that we never should have closed the schools, that children and adults, children represent no danger to adults. They did a very systematic study of 12 million adults, dividing them between households with children, without children, showing that there was no difference whatsoever in severe outcomes of COVID, meaning that we should never have shut the schools. This is the real science. So Biden says he's going to follow science. He's ignoring the science and favoring his own personal power.